You're listening to Viking Radio, coming to you from Dream Street Studios at Del Mar College. Now your host, Dr. Natalie Chapa.
Good morning, Corpus Christi. It's Dr. Natalie Chapa, and I am here with Mr. Robert Bettis this morning on the side mic.
Hello.
Because Mike Bratton decided to gallivant around. I don't know if people still use the word gallivanting, but I've been using it all week.
I think Mike gallivants.
Mike B is gallivanting around Europe right now, and I took a week vacation in my house on Lemming Avenue last week, but that's okay. We hope Mike's having a great time. And the laughing you hear on the other end of the mic, we have such a special guest today, one of our amazing leaders that keeps Corpus Christi ticking, a dear, dear colleague of mine, Mr. Roderick, Rod, as we like to call him, Benson, our Chief Operating Officer for Corpus Christi Army Depot. Welcome this morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. And to your team, who do you have here with you today?
I have Miss Kat Petaway, who is our head of public affairs, and Mr. Jerry Duenas, who's just an amazing artist when it comes to making CCAD look good and putting everything out on social media. Just fantastic.
Rod, Kat, Jerry, thank you so much for joining us today. We are here at Del Mar College, as we like to call Dream Street Studios. It's our new endeavor here, and we really wanted to bring you on the show, Rod, because there's so many great collaborations over the years, over the decades, between Corpus Christi Army Depot, CCAD, as we like to call it, and Del Mar College. And we have been collaborating a lot, you're always so entrenched with our corporate services team. What's been going on with CCAD these days? How's it been going?
Yeah, well, I mean, we're going through a modernization strategy, and just as much as like when we engaged with you guys a few years ago, we talked about your strategic plan. We do the same thing, and and especially when it comes to Del Mar, you all, this organization, this institution is key to our strategy, right? Because you provide tremendous talent to us. We depend on you when we are looking to bring in new programs and do things differently or to optimize. So yeah, we said before, our past and our futures are intrinsically linked together.
They really are. And we talk about every community college is different, right? Because each one is designed to serve the needs of the community. And so we're so blessed here that we have the Army Depot. It's such a legacy part of our city, of our community. How long have you been at CCAD now?
Over 20 years now, off and on. But yeah, I'd like to expand on that, what you talk about being as part of the...
It's entrenched. It's who we are.
Yeah, because, over the years, you come to know people that work at CCAD and their children, their parents. It's definitely a family affair. It's generational.
Okay.
It's transformational in the sense that what it does for people's lives. So, I've got friends that their kids went to Yale, and another friend whose son was at MIT and worked at Google and got an Oxford scholarship. I mean, the pathways that it opens up from achieving the American dream, I think is very very important. And as you all know, very well know, the economic impact that it has to the region, very significant. And the other thing that as for the federal government, that the long-time benefits. I run into people all the time that worked at CCAD in the past. They still live in the community. They're out in their ranches. And the breadth of the people that work at CCAD. I mean, we could go from San Antonio to the Valley, from Benavides and Freer to Beeville, right? That people that live in those communities. I remember a gentleman that we used to call him Bobcat. He was from Refugio. He drove from Refugio every day. Right?
Yeah, Refugio Bobcats.
That's right. Simple
as that.
Right.
But hey, us Texas folk, we love our small town mascots. We talk about them here all the time. I'm so glad you brought that up because the last time I toured, so I've had the opportunity to tour CCAD several times. But the last time So I'm an Orange Grove Bulldog, grew up Orange Grove, Texas, class of 95, woo woo. Um, I run into this guy who was younger than me, grew up. I saw him as little Frank Medrano, of course, who grew up, but he's a cowboy. He's got his place out in Orange Grove, right? He's got his family, his beautiful daughters. And to me, I just always knew him as that guy Frank, right?
Mhm.
Who from Orange Grove. Then we're touring through CCAD. And there's Frank like leading his area, doing some really sophisticated work that is so important, not just for our area, right? The work that y'all do is important worldwide. And that just stayed with me. I'm like, look at that. This one person, look at the impact that he's having. Frank Medrano from Little Orange Grove, Texas. Multiply that by all the people they're working at CCAD. It's pretty phenomenal.
Yes, I'm amazed every day at what people do, and the other piece is that when you combine the Navy, the port, what we do in refining, this is a very from a national defense strategy, very strategic location for the country, South Texas.
Yeah.
And South Texas, as South Texans, we are very proud, and I would say we're very lucky that we have such support from for the military in this community. The city's done fantastic work with our Defense Economic Adjustment
Oh, they're working
grants.
hard. I know.
And
Yeah.
you can see the impacts out on the base, right? So, Gary Bradford and that team, that they've just been phenomenal.
And that is,
helping us
and when
out.
you say that, that is a lot of time and effort in DC.
That's right.
That's a lot of traveling. That's a lot of going up there, walking the halls, meeting with all sorts of people, right? To advocate
That's
on
right.
the mission. So when you talk about community support, it's not just somebody, posting on social media, yay, CCAD. No, it's time and energy that you're
Yes,
talking about.
and we've gotten tremendous support, and I'll go back to the employees because at the end of the day, we like to say putting iron out the door. So that's the helicopters and components that we produce.
Mhm.
That's the employees. Those are the Frank Medranos and those folks.
Mhm.
Doing that on a daily basis. That those materials go out and support our warfighter.
Yeah, and side note, poor Frank, he's going to be like, she what? she called me out? Why?
Yeah, when we tour, I just step back because he does such a great job, like a lot of our CCAD employees.
It's amazing.
And a lot of it, to Delmar's credit, a lot of the people on those tours went to Delmar. And so to see them now, as directors, also at higher headquarters. So, not only the people have done very well in the community, they've also branched out to other areas, right? So there are people that were at CCAD, they're now at SpaceX. There are people at AMCOM and the Army Material Command or the Aviation and Missile Command in Huntsville that are doing great things for the organic industrial base. And they all started here
Wow.
in South Texas.
Yeah, it's impressive. It's impressive work, but it's important work. And it has a huge servant leadership component to it as well, because these are people who love our community. They love CCAD, and they love the work that they do. And you just feel it and you see it. But in you talking right now, Rod, I can hear it in you. So what is it about this work that keeps you motivated? What does it do for you?
So I think, purpose is what, the first thing we talk about is that, I have a saying because people ask me like, what should I do, right? If I'm going to do a career, and I'll tell you, do something you have a passion for and do something, it's going to sound silly, but do something that people will pay you for, right? Because
It's not silly.
Yeah,
You got
right. So
gotta eat.
it's often missed sometimes. But it's a great job, and it's definitely purposeful. When we go in and every morning when you're coming across that bridge and you see what it is that we do, and you hear the blades spinning or the engines turning, and knowing the soldiers, when you see the impact to the warfighter, or in a lot of cases, I would tell you that you guys will see something on the news and not know that CCAD had a hand in
right.
that, and so it's that the purpose of it, I think, is critically important for all of us.
And so we talked about the collaboration with Del Mar, but this really is a collaboration with our K-12 partners too,
Mm-hmm.
which for us equally, we're always trying to work with the littles,
Mm-hmm.
bringing them up and understanding the importance of what CCAD does. Because I think sometimes, I think especially for maybe the younger Gen Xers and the millennials, they're like, oh yeah, my uncle used to work at CCAD,
Mm-hmm.
and he worked there for 30 years and then he retired. But then I remember the last time I was there and y'all showed us the video at the very beginning. And I'm like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. Like, I want to work here.
Yeah.
For the record, I have no skill set that would translate to CCAD. But I'm like, I want to work here with Tom Cruise. For the record, Tom Cruise was not there. But man, it sure felt like it. It felt like a Top Gun episode when I was watching the video. It's very cool work.
Well, I mean, I've seen you in action, Doctor, so I know that you have plenty to give, and and just to evidence that, right? I mean, so what you guys are doing here, all of you in this institution, the students that you put out are the ones that feed our organic industrial base and the rest of this community. So.
Yeah.
That's the important piece. It's a I like to call it a symbiotic relationship, right?
Yeah,
So
for sure.
every piece of this together, we work together to achieve outcomes and objectives. So even we have Kyle Hogan down at the port now, and it's great having a former military leader to understand strategically
Absolutely.
when those units come in and have to deploy or they're returning back and what the resources are at CCAD. It's connected, right? So it's a very connected community where we depend on each other to be
We
able
really
to achieve the
do.
mission.
So for our audience out there who's interested in any type of work at CCAD, any all jokes aside about me not being able to work there, really anything, any skill set that you have translates to somewhere at the Army Depot. Right? I
That's
mean,
right.
there's jobs for everybody. So if somebody's out there thinking, maybe I should think about the Army Depot, what do you say to them out there?
Well, I would tell you absolutely. There is an opportunity, right? And I don't want to overcomplicate it for folks because I think I run into people. I talk to folks. I talked to a guy who's a manager at CVS for years, and now he's out turning wrenches on the line, building CH-47s. And so, it's a willingness, first of all, to work, right? Are you willing to learn something different? Are you willing to challenge yourself? Are you comfortable being uncomfortable?
Because you're learning every day.
You're learning every day, yeah. And so, as when you toured, we talked about the fact that that is our operation is remanufacturing, it's not manufacturing.
Right.
So, and the difference is that there's a lot of variance in the line. Every product that comes through is a little bit different. It's a little bit different of a challenge, and you have to use problem-solving skills and all the way to humility. So, if you don't know something, ask a question, right?
So we hear that a lot from our industry partners across the board, problem solving, especially with our younger generation. It's like, yes, we want them to be able to do certain things, right? There's certain things that you have to be able to do, how to measure things, how to, simple things like that. But it's the problem solving skills that are significant day to day.
Yes, it is. And there's, again, it's a team of teams or I like to say a system of systems. And so understanding, although the systems may act independently, ultimately the goal is the same, right? So you can find resources and support if you don't know something in other areas. If you need to learn something, you can ask a question. And you ask about like working out at CCAD. One of the things that people I think it's surprising to folks is just the depth and breadth of the different disciplines that we need.
Exactly.
Like right now, I need lawyers.
Exactly.
I need lawyers right now.
Okay.
And we have medical professionals, we have industrial hygiene professionals, we have folks that work on safety and security, the artisans that turn wrenches on all different aircraft and components and testing, folks that use blue light lasers and 3D printing.
I was about to say the 3D printer. That thing is so cool out there.
Yeah.
No.
So it's in a sense, it's a almost like this independent organism that takes all these pieces to work together, so that we can function as an independent organization.
And really, whatever your skill set is, there's a place for you at the Army Depot, right?
That's right.
There's so, because everybody has a different skill set. I'm wondering if y'all are in need of somebody who's very loud and can talk on the radio, but I'll fill out my application later. We'll be right back.
This is where it all starts, where dreams take off and what's next becomes clear. This is Heritage Campus at Del Mar College, home to core classes in arts, sciences, and business, with upgraded facilities and faculty who provide a quality education that transfers with you wherever you're headed. This is a place of creativity, possibility, and success. A place to excel, a place to grow. This is where you belong. Learn more at dmcdreams.com.
This show is a production of Del Mar College, where continuing education courses can get you in the workforce fast, including Workforce Skills Awards that are stackable towards Del Mar College credit programs. Own your dreams at Del Mar College. Go online at delmar.edu/CE. This is Viking Radio.
So for our audience out there, we are here with Mr. Rod Benson, Chief Operating Officer of the Corpus Christi Army Depot, and just one of the amazing leaders and collaborators here in the area. You know, you brought up a couple of times, Rod, strategic. And I really feel like that's what, if anything, I would love for our community partners to understand, that there is a lot of strategy and collaboration. So, for example, when we did our strategic plan, we did it 3 years ago now, if you can believe. We do ours in 5-year cycles. You were a big voice in the room as a community partner, saying, this is what we need. This is what y'all do good. This is what you're good at. We could use a little bit over here. But, I mean, that was very important for CCAD's voice to be in the room that day, as with all the other community members. And so, again, there is a strategy, right, that we are focusing on behalf of the community.
That's right. And you all responded to that, right? So, whether it's how we could utilize artificial intelligence in the curriculum, or even 3D printing and what we call additive or advanced manufacturing, those were all the things that we continue to collaborate on to set ourselves up for the future. One of the areas that we have endeavored to get ahead on is composites. And
Yes.
You saw probably some weeks ago, there was a ribbon cutting where we released our chirography booth, which allows us to be able to detect voids and things in composite structures, which is very, an advanced technique that allows us to be, more efficient, more productive, and, from a strategic standpoint, more lethal in supplying the warfighters the goods and services that they desire.
Again, very, very important work, not just for our area, but for around the world. And in talking about strategy, I wrote something down that you said earlier, and I'm going to steal it, and I'm probably not going to give you credit for it, but modernization strategy. And I think we're all there right now, even for us here in higher education. It's like, how do we strategize? How do we look at the future? We know it's moving fast, right? With technology now, things are moving so fast. So not only how do we keep up, but how do we stay ahead? So that, again, our curriculum does match, for example, what CCAD needs or any of our healthcare partners need. And that is a challenge right now. How does that work for you? How are y'all focusing on again, keeping modernized?
Yeah, so it starts with, first you got to understand that our strategy is nested, right? So I talked before about a system of systems.
Okay.
And so although we may seem independent in a way, we're all moving towards the same
One goal.
One goal, right? And so, I would be remiss if I didn't tell you about, from the top down. The first is the Department of War strategy. And so that's the 2026 National Defense Strategy. Anyone can go out there and Google it and read it. But, those priorities are defend the homeland, right? Deter China in the Indo-Pacific through strength, not confrontation. right? And so deterrence is very important, right? And that's capability. Increase burden sharing with U.S. allies and partners. So strategically, what are we doing worldwide to put ourselves in position to be able to support forward locations? And supercharge, for us, supercharging the defense industrial base. So we are normally, we refer to ourselves as the organic industrial base.
Okay.
And I'll tell you the difference.
Yeah, what's the
is
difference?
That, well, quite simply in a Rod Bensonism, I will tell you that we take orders. We don't do contracts, right? So if the commander is called upon to do something, we move out. There's no negotiating. There's no,
Right.
because we are
There's
part.
no, let's think about
That's
this.
right. That's right. We move out, and we we got plenty of examples where we've done that all for decades and decades with the existence of CCAD. But supercharging the U.S. defense industrial base. When we talk about modernization, we're talking about things that we invest in that are going to give us the efficiency, productivity, the lethality to respond quickly. And so when we move down from the Department of War, those strategies, those priorities, we talk about the Army priorities, right? And so that's war fighting. When we prioritize our time and resources to building lethality through cohesive teams, continuous transformation. And, I always say this in a way a little bit differently that, we talk about iteratively and continuously transforming. But for the talking to people, I say, hey, look, we just need to be better today than we were yesterday and strive to be better tomorrow than we are today, right? That's that continuous transformation.
I'm totally stealing that too, so you know.
These are new Natalie.
I'm like, so I just came up tomorrow and be like, I came up with some thoughts last night.
That's great, Doug. Hey,
Rod Benson, I don't know him. Never talked to him before.
a couple more of those is delivering combat-ready formations. So our formations, we have to sustain them. And so as you saw when you visited, we of course you see that we produce helicopters. We can repair helicopters, we can overhaul helicopters, we can take something that's crash battle damaged that rolls in on a truck and it flies out, right? Mm-hmm. But the key is really the components. The components is what keeps the Army flying. So that's the engines, transmissions, blades, the things that people do every day that
it has to be precise.
It has to be precise, and it has to work the first time when it's installed on an aircraft. And that globally goes out to support the entire all the Army aviation and even our partners, right? So the other agencies as well, the Navy, the Air Force, and even in some cases the Coast Guard. So strengthening the Army profession is the fourth one from an Army priorities, and that means that we must serve with competence and character, right? And so that overlies what the CCAD and drives the CCAD priorities. So these are the CCAD priorities that are outlined by Colonel Considine. So to deliver value to the Army through financial savings and avoidance of cost of new. Now, when I say cost of new, I mean both time and money, right? Because we need to be able to move with velocity. And as Frank might have shown you, that he can take we're not going to let Frank go. He can make an engine run more efficiently than it does when it comes from the factory brand new by adding metal to it, right? So building and maintaining a flexible labor force, which is capable to adapting to the Army requirements. So again, I go back to we don't do contracts, we take orders. So if we need to flex to something, having a workforce that can move to things, right? And back to your point about the people who want to come to CCAD or work in that type of environment, embrace change, right? I've said it before, there's two things you can guarantee in life.
That's right.
Time is finite, right?
Right.
You're not guaranteed tomorrow, and that you're going to face change each and every day. So being able to deal with that change and be flexible, I think is critically important. And then serving as the central source of aviation lethality by sustaining aircraft and the components, as I said before. And then reimagining CCAD's capabilities and tools to align with the Army's transformation initiatives and priorities, right? So we talked about, for instance, 3D printing and additive manufacturing. chirography.
Right.
As we move towards the Cheyenne 2, the MV-75, which is composite aircraft, mostly composite aircraft. How do we set ourselves up today to be able to support the enduring fleet while also being able to efficiently drive the future?
And that's what you're talking about in terms of shifting in priorities, shifting of services, that CCAD really, that's kind of a new priority.
That's right.
Yes. And so that's a main focus for y'all.
Always. Change is constant.
Change is constant. And so if I'm out there listening, because I'm feeling it right now, like I said, I'm ready to go work for CCAD right now. Sorry, Dr. Escamilla. But, and we're always, don't think we're not watching Paul Creasy too. We're always watching. I always, every time I see Paul, I'm like, watching.
Okay. So it's
No
par
cat,
for the
no
course,
Paul
Doctor.
Creasy.
It's par for the course because you can tell Dr. Escamilla, they owe us a few because you guys
no.
have taken so many people from
What?
CCAD. Yes, there are
No.
people that are retiring right now, and they're headed to work for Del Mar, which is great, right? Because
They retired. They're done. They're tired. They're ready. We
Well,
didn't steal them.
I
We
will
just-
tell you that the benefit for us is that we have people that are informing and training and teaching the next generation of CCADers that are going to come along.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All jokes aside, it really is, and this happens so much with our industry partners when it's time for somebody to shift and transition, to be able to bring them on here at the college and then for them to serve as instructors and teachers for that next group. That's part of the power of our faculty and instructors. That's really what makes Del Mar College. And so I'm glad to steal them. If you have any more, bring them our Do you just want to give us a list every month of who's retiring? And then
We'll put her on we're gonna have to limit their tours in the future.
like handing out my cards. But it is again just another added layer of the collaboration. And I always say at Del Mar College, we're always striving to get better. We are the local community college. Almost everybody and everyone has a story or a tie to the college. And we know that we don't always get it right because, and we said we've been here for 80 years. Sometimes, our processes and procedures are a little outdated, and Kim's over there with her little smirk. But we are always trying, and our new idea, again, things are moving fast. And we're trying to stay up ahead and modernize so that we can serve our students and we can serve the community. I hope that people out there, Rod, are listening and realizing, first of all, the benefit and the impact, if they didn't already know, of what CCAD brings to this community. But I can tell how important it is for you and how passionate this is for you, this type of work. It's not easy work.
But it's
not
very
easy.
rewarding work, and for there's a number of employees that work out there and people that you meet in the community.
Yes.
I was talking to a gentleman that lives out in Freer, Texas. His son joined the Army, and that connectivity, right? That hey,
Absolutely.
my kid is flying on those aircraft, and we may be
There's
working.
pride in that.
That's right.
That's pride in that. Is there anything else you want to, as we're wrapping up, anything else you'd like for our community to know out there?
No, just that we are grateful for the support that we get from this community each and every day, and that know that the CCAD workforce is a dedicated workforce, and that the future is we're working towards bringing in more workload, different programs.
Yes.
And again, we appreciate all of the support we've gotten from the city and local leaders that we continue to get. So, no, just a hearty thank you to everyone, and we'll commit to continue to keep the Army flying.
Thanks so much for your time today, Rod, and for the team for being here with us at Dream Street Studios. Hope you've enjoyed listening to Mr. Benson here on the radio with us. And if Mike B were here, he would say, adios.
This show is a production of Del Mar College. Follow us on Spotify at Viking Radio.